Hello, Raeesa. Welcome. Do I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, you did, Raisa. Yeah.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you for joining us. Very happy that you are here and that we can hear more about you and your work for MindTales. Very excited, and I think everyone that will watch this will be very excited. So that's good. Could you give us a quick introduction about yourself, what you do, how you got here, and maybe a little bit about the company you work for?
Yeah, definitely. Mano, it's always great to chat with you, and I'm so glad that you invited me to be here today. I work at MindTales, which is a mental health tech startup, and we're based in Abu Dhabi currently at Hub 71, which is Abu Dhabi's global tech accelerator and an ecosystem. So from my end, I went to university here in the region at New York University, and I have a background in both law and psychology, and I've just entered the startup space, and I'm approaching around my first year in this area, and I absolutely love it. So I support MindTales more with media development, branding, and also marketing. But because we are such a small team, there's overlaps with almost everything from product design to product development to speaking with users and partnerships and everything. So that's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
Okay. And how, because you do this over a year now, how did you find this, and or how did they find you, and what is the, because of course I know a little bit of your background. I would love
Yeah.
to hear as well how you decided to move a complete different direction from studying to the world of startups. I would like to hear that part
Right.
as well.
Right. Yeah. So I think when I had met you as well, I was working more towards law school, and legal studies was really my focus and my interest. But the whole idea for me was just to work for a couple of years, and I was set on that, and then I would head to law school in the US because I just had this huge passion for law and psychology, and I still do have those passions. And I actually ended up meeting Victoria, who's the CEO and co founder of MindTales, at a networking fair that was organized by my university back when I was looking for a job. And so, because of my background in mental health and psychology in general, I thought it would be super interesting just to get my foot in the door with the startup. And in my head, I did not expect to love it as much as I do. And now I think, as I've been speaking with you and other people, it's been interesting to see that, yeah, my visions for the future have changed. I really would like to stay in this space, and I think law and psychology will be a passion of mine for always. And I think that the psych aspect is definitely like an asset that will always help no matter what industry I'm in. So this is where I see myself right now. I guess everybody's plans evolve and change, but right now this is what it is. Yeah.
And are there things, because of course you still do probably also legal things, especially because you're a small team, but your main focus is media, marketing. Are there
Mhm.
any things that you had in uni that you can still use in those fields, or is that something that you just taught yourself?
I think it's a combination of both, probably. So, definitely both the degrees in psychology and legal studies. And when I was a student, there was always this emphasis on doing things outside of the teaching environment. So, gaining that practical knowledge and being involved with whether it was volunteering or coaching students or being involved on certain professional development teams, things like that. I guess that's where you really develop the soft skills to learn how to interact with people, how to talk to them. And NYUAD is such a diverse student body that I think you have this understanding of interacting with other cultures, of coming more from a curiosity perspective. And I think those are things that have really helped me interact well here with the community, and also, just build relationship with users, with other people in our ecosystem who have similar visions to us. But then more on the, I guess, the hard skills side with psychology, we are a mental health tech startup, so that's helped huge amounts in terms of content creation, understanding whether or not we're on the right track with some of the courses that we're creating for our mobile application. But of course, at the same time, it's not all me. So we do have counselors and psychiatrists that we work with who have more of that elevated knowledge in psychology that can supplement what I know and bring in more of an expert point of view. And yeah, so legal studies definitely also does help here and there because it's such a new environment here in the UAE with telehealth. So it's exciting to be involved in an area that's growing like that. Yeah.
Awesome. And you mentioned the startup community you are in.
Yes.
Can you tell us something more about that?
Yeah, so there's over 100 startups that are involved and supported by Hub 71. So a lot of them are based here in the physical building that I'm in right now, but some of them do have remote teams. And I think that that's honestly also one of my favorite aspects about working here at Mindtails is that as a first time startup member, I guess, to be able to learn so much from other people who are working towards their own visions in maybe fintech or insurance and things like that. You also get to watch other people's journeys evolve. And because we are such a close-knit community, it's just 3 floors in the building currently, you do get first-hand perspective into other people's trajectories, what's happening with their products, what challenges are they facing, how are their teams growing. And so that ability, I think, to learn is something that's it keeps you going every day, and you also kind of feel like you're a part of something, and that if your startup is facing certain troubles, that there are other people that you can turn to for advice, and a whole community that's kind of behind you supporting as well. So I think it's been great that since we came here. Yeah.
And is it so like the community and learning from others, is that mainly you going to people and asking, or is that like, is it organized, or is it just you being proactive?
It's both actually. So specifically for founders, they do have like weekly founders focus groups where founders can go and discuss the types of issues they're having, whether it's regulatory, maybe structural, and the hub kind of comes together to see how they can use their platform and where they are to help founders with their issues and challenges. But then, and there are also other opportunities for that other startups have taken the initiative to create. So for example, Mindtails also has a lean-in group as well for the female entrepreneurs that we've been trying to create and have maybe monthly sessions with in terms of understanding the challenges that come with being female entrepreneur and how we can support each other through that. And then the other element of it is just because we are in such close proximity to each other, we share some common spaces. So if you're eating lunch or if you're grabbing coffee and things like that, it's quite likely that you'll bump into somebody else along the way. And I think the nature of a lot of people here is just to be outgoing a little bit and say hi and have that curiosity perspective of asking what the other person is doing and working on, and through that, I guess that's how your relationships get built. Yeah,
That's cool. That's cool. I think it's an ideal environment for a person like you that is just starting out, right? 1 year, and you can
yeah,
just
yeah,
absorb everything that's happening around you. So that's cool.
definitely. Yeah.
Mind stills.
Yes.
Yes. What you gave like a very quick, brief introduction what you do.
Yeah.
Can you make that a bit longer, and also
Yeah.
what your goal is, or at least the goal of Mindtails and what you try to do?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess at our very core, Mindtails is here to fight stigmas around mental health in the region. And we do that by leveraging technology and our digital platform. And really, what we want to do is provide accessible, affordable mental health support. So we have 2 focuses right now on our mobile application. That's our product. So we have online counseling and life coaching. So users can directly call, video or audio call with one of our wellness specialists, and it's all confidential and it's one-on-one immediate support. But then at the same time, we also have therapy tools and wellness games. So both of these work hand in hand to kind of create a comprehensive mental health care plan or support system, I guess. And so users have the opportunity to interact more with the lighthearted, educational, and informative side of things, which are the tools and the games. And for those who have more serious or pressing mental health concerns, they can turn to talking to a life counselor, a life coach, or a counselor at the same time. And so, yeah, currently what we've done so far is we've launched our product, so it's actually live. So for those who do want to check it out, and I have suggested, I pushed this with Manno before as well. So try it out, give it a go. Your first session is always free. And yeah, we are exploring discounts now as well for certain communities. And it's always just interesting to have that initial chat with a life coach or a counselor. I do think everybody can benefit from talk therapy at some point, and it's affordable too.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for the introduction. Is it you mentioned here in the region? What is the region?
Oh, currently the UAE, the MENA region. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the bigger is MENA, and for now the focus is the UAE.
So immediately, I guess a lot of the users that we are talking to are based in the UAE, but we definitely are also focusing on other ecosystems here in the MENA region and later on possibly in other areas around the world. But I think the important thing to highlight is that we are English and Arabic speaking. So because we are Arabic speaking and we do have that aspect or choice for users to talk with Arabic speaking counselors and life coaches, these types of communities are available all around the world, or they're prevalent all around the world. So we're really trying to tap into those communities just to see if there's any demand there as well, and how we can cater to it.
Cool. Hey, and mental health, I guess it's globally a topic that is not talked about that much, right? I guess there are countries where they talk about it a bit more. I don't think that is here in the UAE.
Yeah.
What made you, and I guess Victoria, but just the whole team, decide to launch here, and how do you want to bridge that part that it's not really a topic here just yet?
That's super. That's actually, I mean, that's one of the challenges that we did foresee. I think when MindTales was first started, the co-founders actually began it. They started it because there was this lack of mental health care in the region, or at least timely mental health care. It's not like it doesn't exist. It does exist, but I think that a lot of individuals find that it can be quite expensive, or there's long waiting lists, things like that, that just these barriers to accessibility that make it really tough. And so I think one of the great things about being in this region at the same time is that there's such a large expat population. So it's the ideal environment to kind of test your product and get these different perspectives and reiterate on ideas and find what works. But I think what makes MindTales why we're able to do what we're able to do is because we have those wellness tools and those games. And I think that functions almost like a lighthearted way to spread mental health awareness. So for people who aren't ready to tackle the more serious aspects of their mental health, playing a game and learning about cognitive behavioral therapy and concepts to do with that, it's less direct, it's more informal, it's a bit more fun, and it's a good way to raise awareness without directly telling somebody, go check out your mental health. And at the same time, I think it's also important to notice that mental health looks different for every community. So we don't just want to take a model from the Western world and put it in the UAE and say, this is what mental health support looks like. So the idea behind the wellness games and the therapy tools is also to gather a bit more data and understanding to what support looks like culturally here in the region as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because what is the mix of people working in the team, right? Is that also very international? Is that or is it very Middle East focused?
It's quite balanced. So our co-founder, so one of our co-founders is Lithuanian, and one of our co-founders is here from the region as well. So we do have that balance right from the top. And then on the team itself, we do make sure that we're collaborating with local entities and that we do have more of an Emirati perspective from the get-go as well, be that to the users that we're talking to, also to make sure that the language we're using resonates with users, because there's not oftentimes direct translations for mental health or counselor or emotional support and things like that. So making sure that we have those voices present, I think also is something that's helped us reach out and connect with those communities too. So it's definitely a balance, I think, but it's been interesting to see both sides work together on this. Yeah.
I can imagine. And we have talked about it, but I guess it's interesting to hear and to maybe hear a bit more about that. What makes MindTools different? Yeah, I know it, of course, but I
Right.
guess it's good to hear from you what you think makes it different and why that is important. And you have
Yeah.
already said a few things about it, but maybe you can just pinpoint it. Yeah.
Yeah, to pinpoint it, I think what makes us different is the fact that we do offer not just online counseling. It's also the fact that we do have tools for self-discovery, tools for users to work on their mental health and to implement daily habits through, we have, I mean, on our app, you can check it out. There are different opportunities for journaling, for setting smart goals, for habit tracking, also keeping up with day-to-day habits like drinking enough water or how much sleep did you get and things like that. So having these types of features in conjunction with online counseling really addresses one of the main issues that we were trying to solve in the first place, which was this idea of a fragmented healthcare system. So we don't just want users going to once-off therapy sessions and then, going back into their daily lives and expecting things to be the same. So I think we really are trying to build more of a sustainable model of self-care, and that's why we're trying to include opportunities like therapy tools and wellness games for users to have a bit more fun with it and also learn more along the way.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And of course your role is more towards marketing, media and all the other things that you do. Can you share something with us about, because of course you're recently launched, right? A lot of people are building right now. So it could be very interesting to hear what the steps were that you took also to bring it a bit more outside the company, right? Because first it was an idea, you were already involved very
Yeah.
early stage. And
Yeah.
how are you going to make sure that more people know about it now? And also maybe you can share some of your secret tactics that nobody is allowed to hear about.
Right. So I think it helps. So the first thing that's really helped is being involved in a community of other startups already, because from the beginning, you already have the ability to walk up to another founder, for example, and ask them to test out your product. And because they have that entrepreneurial experience and vision, maybe they can also pinpoint or help you foresee what some of the challenges might be that you might not see at that moment. So really, we've been trying to get others involved in the community firsthand with our product here. But then at the same time, we've tried, you have your conventional marketing tactics like advertising through social media platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, and then also a bit more of App Store optimization now because we are on the Apple Store. And then something that we've really tried to place a huge emphasis on is community building. So I think you guys were a part of hearing me. I think you've heard me speak about the podcast that we've done quite a few times. And so the Mind Tales Collective was really built on this idea that we would go out and talk with industry executives about their experiences with mental health. And, that could range from financial literacy and its impact on your wellness, or startup founders' mental health is important, things like that. And so at that time, the idea was to provide genuine value to our users and to the community out there. But I think something that we were doing at the same time and that I realized afterwards was that it was a great way for us to create this list of individuals that we could go back to once our project was launched and say, hey, look at this. You were with us at the very beginning and now our product is out there. What do you think? And can you share it with your community? So I think being able to involve others in your process along the way was something that we've always tried to do through offering value. And so we still do that now by occasionally offering wellness webinars to the community here for employees who, in terms of dealing with workplace conflicts or burnout, things like that. And so yeah, I think it's the most generic kind of advice in terms of give and give and give and then take at some point. But I think it also is a great way to build trust with the communities that you're involved in. And so we do try to do that genuinely because we are a mental health organization after all. So yeah, I think that's something that's really helped us along the way.
Yeah, I think it's a great tip. I think where most companies, especially tech companies, right, they really think about scale and growth and
Yeah.
how can we get at a certain point in a short amount of time. And what you do is way more the organic way, which
Right.
is usually a bit safer as well. in many ways, but it can be a great accelerator. Now you're launching, right? So I think
Exactly.
definitely a good takeaway. Who is your ideal audience? Is there like a certain audience that you think would be ideal for Mind Tales, or is it just
Yeah.
everyone in the Middle East?
Ideally, it would be everyone in the Middle East, but of course, we're starting out, so we do have to have more of a focus right now. So, we are trying to cater more towards young adults. So, those who can afford some kind of mental health support. It doesn't have to be extravagant right now, but because each age demographic does have such specific mental health concerns, like somebody who's well advanced in their career, already has a family, might be thinking a little bit more about other issues versus a university student who's just graduating and is coping with adjusting to adulthood and building meaningful friendships and things like that. So right now we are looking more at like 25 to 40, I would say, is like our age range. And so we are catering more towards this population and trying to find out more about what users or what personas, what are their issues that they're facing, what are the challenges that they're trying to overcome, and we've tailored our product to be a bit more of a fit towards that. But at the same time, we are also investigating other age groups like university students, and also just the whole idea of us connecting with employers has also been one of our focuses and our focus areas as well. So focusing more towards businesses, but also individual users at the same time. So that's our starting point right now. And then once we have more data and more information, we'll see where to go.
So that would mean that you also have like a B2B focus.
Yes, we do also have a B2B focus at the same time as B2C. Yeah.
And would that be like a similar process of signing up? They just need to go to the app, or would that be more like a sales focus where you create like a unique environment for a company?
I think it would be both actually. So the employees would have the opportunity to sign up through the app itself, but then we do have these corporate packages available as well where our team of counselors and psychiatrists would do, for example, psychological tests maybe to explore stress levels or whether there is prevalence of burnout, things like that, or offering maybe monthly or weekly webinars tailored to what the employer needs right now. For example, it's always more of like a conversation and discussing where they're currently at and what their pain points are, and then seeing how our team can sort of build a unique package to support them at that time. That's how we've kind of always done it. And then at the same time, the employees can have access to the online counseling platform, also the wellness games if need be. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, and what is the pricing currently? You mentioned a few times that it's more affordable than what is currently in the market.
Right. So our counselors right now, there is a flat rate of, so your first session will be free, just for everyone out there. And
Free. It's free. It's free.
it is free. And so following it was $80 per hour, 80 US dollars, and that's now going to be more of a 50% discount, or there are discounts coming up later this week or next week, so keep an eye out for that as well, and that's going to be less. So, yeah.
Yeah, now the next question will be a bit more personal, and that is about where you get your information, your knowledge. Do you listen to certain podcasts? Do you read certain books that are interesting for startups mainly, or marketing people to read, that you would say you 100% need to listen to this podcast besides the Mind Tales podcast, don't get me wrong, but more focused on startups and marketing?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So I think from a marketing perspective, probably what's really helped so much, whether it's, in terms of talking to users or building partnerships or being able to convey your message, is more of the interpersonal skills and that side of things. So one book that I've always come back to again and again is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I love that book so much. And so it's basically like your handbook for like emotional intelligence and how to build meaningful relationships with people. And There hasn't been a point in my life where I haven't seen a value or application of the principles or the rules that Dale talks about in the book itself. And one of them, for example, is making other people feel ownership of the idea that you're presenting to them. And so that has, I mean, from asking users their perspective on your product, or trying to convince investors or partners in the region to believe in your vision and things like that, or even if just going about the change aspect of being in a startup, being able to involve others and invite them to take ownership of that process is like key. And so I think it's been super interesting to keep going back to the social psychology aspect of what it means to interact with other people and persuade them to believe in your vision. That's really helped me on a day-to-day basis in the marketing environment.
I guess a lot of people don't find the title so good, because it like people outside marketing, because I've
Yeah.
read the book and I loved it as well, but like people that are not in the marketing field or sales field, they all think that, why would you have a book, why do you want to influence your friends, right? It's like
Yeah. Yeah, one of his other books is called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. It's very literal, I think his titles are, but the insights that you get from the book, if you just push past the title, is
yeah.
so great. So yeah.
Yeah, I saw the other book that you just mentioned. Have you read that as well?
Yeah, I read that as well. I love that one too.
Okay. I will write that down, because maybe I will get it then.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Is a recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I think we are almost at the very end. I will give you a little bit of time to share where people can find you, find Mind Tales. I will also add it somewhere in around this video. But I guess it's good to just a quick, like, what kind of people you would love to interact with, or what kind of people would be interested in Mind Tales, so we can make like a little short video of this and push it out for you.
Yay, thank you. Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn. So, Raeesa, feel free to send me a message or reach out there. I'm always looking to learn and speak with new people. For Mindtales itself, you can visit our website at www.mindtales.me, or you can search up Mindtales on the App Store itself or Google's Play as well. So, if you are just interested in exploring your mental health, or implementing positive habits into your life, or just working a bit more on self-care, I really don't hesitate to download the Mind Tales app and try it out. And if you do see that there's something missing, or you feel as though there's some kind of gap in what we're trying to provide that you would need for your self-care or your mental health, we're really in the process of always listening to our users and trying new things out. So there's almost a quite clear chance that we'll also test out your idea as well if there's value in it. So feel free to reach out and have a conversation with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. And I will stop the recording very soon.